Right, so while the country's dealing with actual crises, we've just witnessed the most heated political debate of the season. And no, it's not about the NHS or the economy. It's about Yorkshire puddings on Christmas Day with turkey. I wish I was joking. Former Prime Minister Liz Truss, remember her, the lettuce? Yeah, that one. She's just declared war on British Christmas tradition, and Nick Ferrari looked like he'd just been told Father Christmas isn't real. Buckle up, because this is the kind of hard-hitting political drama that only British radio can deliver, and honestly, I'm living for it. So, let's set the scene. Liz Truss rocks up to Nick Ferrari's LBC show, probably expecting to talk about tax policy or her new book or whatever former prime ministers do when they're not running the country into the ground for 49 days. But no, Ferrari's got the really important questions. Who's cooking the turkey at yours, Liz? And fair play to her, she's being all diplomatic, saying she and her husband both get involved, they take different bits of the bird. Very collaborative, very modern marriage. 10 out of 10 for equality in the Truss household. Ferrari, bless him, proudly announces he cooks everything at his place. Absolute legend. Total Christmas hero. And Truss is like, yeah, my husband will probably handle the actual turkey, we haven't decided yet. Standard stuff, perfectly normal Christmas conversation. But then Ferrari asks the question that will haunt British households for generations. What about you, Liz? You doing the spuds, the Yorkshires? And that's when she dropped the bombshell that made Ferrari question everything he thought he knew about British politics and Christmas dinner. Liz Truss, former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, looked Nick Ferrari dead in the eye and said there are no Yorkshires. No Yorkshire puddings on Christmas Day. She doesn't believe in them. And before you think she's lost the plot entirely, she clarified her position. Yorkshire puddings, according to the Gospel of Truss, should only be served with roast beef, never with turkey. She thinks pairing them with turkey is wrong, morally wrong, apparently, like she's drawn a line in the sand about batter-based accompaniments and she will not be moved. Now, Ferrari's from Yorkshire background, right? So to him, this isn't just culinary treason, it's practically a personal attack on his heritage. He's absolutely fuming. You can almost hear his blood pressure rising through the radio. The man looks like he's just been told Brexit was a bad idea. Oh, wait. But seriously, his face when she said it, utterly bewildered, completely mortified, like Truss had just announced she was abolishing democracy and replacing it with a Yorkshire pudding ban. And here's the thing that makes this absolutely brilliant. This woman crashed the pound, she tanked pension funds, she lasted less time in office than it takes to grow a lettuce, and that's not hyperbole, that actually happened. The Daily Star live-streamed a lettuce outlasting her premiership. But the thing that's got Britain properly divided, Yorkshire puddings, not economic policy, not her disastrous mini-budget, Yorkshires, on Christmas, with turkey. The internet, predictably, lost its collective mind. Social media erupted like it was a general election night. People are writing essays about this, proper manifestos about whether Yorkshire puddings belong on a Christmas dinner plate. One viewer called it a disgrace, an actual disgrace. We've had scandals involving billions of pounds, we've had politicians breaking lockdown rules, we've had all sorts of political chaos, but calling Yorkshire puddings on Christmas a disgrace, that's where we draw a line as a nation. Brilliant. But here's where it gets even better. Liz Truss isn't alone in this fight. She's got backup. Multiple people jumped into the comments agreeing with her. One person wrote, "Sorry, Liz is correct. Yorkshire pudding only with beef, never with anything else." Another said, "For once, Liz Truss is correct. Yorkies don't go on a Christmas dinner." Someone else threw cauliflower cheese under the bus as well, saying that's got no place on a Christmas plate either. Which, controversial, but let's stay focused on the Yorkshire pudding crisis at hand. So now we've got two camps forming, Team Yorkshire and Team No Yorkshire. This is the kind of division that could tear families apart. Forget Brexit, forget left versus right, forget every other political debate we've had in the last decade. The real question facing Britain today is whether Yorkshire puddings deserve a spot next to your turkey and Brussels sprouts. Ferrari is firmly Team Yorkshire, obviously. The man's ready to die on this hill, and honestly, respect to him for taking a stand on the issues that really matter. But let's be real for a second. This is peak British politics. We've reached a point where a former Prime Minister's most sensible take, according to multiple people, is about Yorkshire puddings. That's where we are as a country. Someone literally wrote, "That's the most sensible thing I've ever heard her say." About Yorkshires. Not about anything she did in office, not about any policy decision, Yorkshires. The bar is so low it's practically underground, and somehow we're still finding ways to debate whether she's cleared it. And you know what? I kind of love that this is what's got everyone talking. Because here's the thing about British people. We'll tolerate a lot. We'll put up with political scandals, economic disasters, weather that makes you question why anyone lives here, trains that don't work, and politicians who promise the world and deliver absolutely nothing. But mess with our Christmas dinner traditions, touch our Yorkshire puddings, suggest that our sacred festive meal needs altering, that's when we get properly angry. That's when we mobilise. That's when we take to social media and write passionate defences of batter cooked in beef drippings. There's something beautifully absurd about the fact that Liz Truss, who implemented policies that caused actual chaos in the financial markets, is now causing chaos in kitchens across the country. She's got people genuinely reconsidering their Christmas menus. Families are probably having heated debates right now about whether Gran's been doing it wrong all these years. Someone's definitely getting uninvited from Christmas dinner over this, guaranteed. Some poor soul has posted their opinion on Facebook and now they're not welcome at their in-laws anymore because they picked the wrong side in the great Yorkshire pudding debate of late December. And Ferrari, bless him, he's standing there defending the honour of Yorkshire puddings like they're a member of the royal family. The passion, the conviction, the sheer disbelief that anyone, especially someone with Yorkshire heritage in their background, could possibly take the position that Yorkshires don't belong on Christmas dinner. You can tell this matters to him on a deeply personal level. This isn't just about food, this is about identity, this is about tradition, this is about what it means to be British at Christmas. But let's give Truss some credit here. At least she's consistent. Yorkshire puddings with beef only. It's a rule. It's a principle. She's not wavering. She's not doing a U-turn, which makes a nice change from her time in office, doesn't it? She's planted her flag firmly in Team No Yorkshire for Christmas, and she's defending that position with more conviction than she defended any of her economic policies. Maybe if she'd shown this level of certainty about the mini-budget, she'd have lasted longer than the lettuce. The one concession she did make, and this is important, she confirmed that champagne and orange juice would be consumed early in the day. So she's not completely anti-tradition. She's not a monster. She'll have a Bucks Fizz like a proper British person. She'll participate in that sacred ritual of getting slightly tipsy before lunch while pretending it's sophisticated because there's champagne involved. So at least there's that. At least we can all agree on something, even if we can't agree on whether Yorkshires belong anywhere near a turkey. And you've got to wonder what was going through Ferrari's head during this interview. He probably prepared questions about politics, about policy, about what Truss thinks about the current government. Instead, he's got himself into a full-blown culinary standoff about Yorkshire puddings, and he looks genuinely distressed about it. The man's probably gone home and questioned everything. He's probably lying awake at night thinking about all those Christmases where people have been serving turkey without Yorkshires. The absolute horror, the absolute tragedy of it all. The beauty of this whole situation is that it perfectly captures British political discourse in this moment. We're not having serious debates about serious issues. We're having passionate arguments about Yorkshire puddings on a radio show, and somehow this has become national news. This is what we're talking about. This is what's dividing the nation. Not healthcare, not education, not climate change. Yorkshire puddings. And honestly, maybe we need this. Maybe after years of actual political chaos and genuine crises, we deserve to have a completely ridiculous debate about something that ultimately doesn't matter but feels incredibly important in the moment. Because here's the truth. Every single person listening to this has an opinion. You're either Team Yorkshire or you're not. There's no middle ground here. You can't sit on the fence on this one. You're either nodding along with Ferrari thinking Truss has lost the plot, or you're nodding along with Truss thinking finally someone said it, Yorkshires don't belong with turkey. There's no compromise position, there's no both sides have valid points. This is tribal warfare, and the weapon of choice is batter. The debate will rumble on, apparently. Ferrari's firmly in the camp that Yorkshires deserve their spot on the Christmas dinner plate as much as turkey or Brussels sprouts. And you know what? Fair enough. Let him have his Yorkshires. Let Truss have her Yorkshire-free Christmas. Let Britain be divided over something that actually doesn't affect anyone's life in any meaningful way. After everything else we've been through as a country, maybe we've earned the right to argue about something completely trivial and treat it like it's the most important political issue of our time. So, there you have it. Liz Truss versus Nick Ferrari. Yorkshire puddings versus tradition. Christmas dinner chaos, courtesy of a former Prime Minister who somehow managed to be more controversial about food than she was about economics. If you're Team Yorkshire,